Okay, we saw these things, system options, transaction type, and transaction source. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, that is fine, or any doubt on that?
Can you send me that recording?
Okay, maybe I'll send it. It's there in the this one drive actually.
The new one you uploaded? No, right? I don't think I saw the new one.
Okay,
Anyway,
let me check it. If not, I'll upload it
yeah, sure. Thanks.
along with today's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will start after that, or you want to see that again?
So did you do the setups for this one? You already finished the setups?
Yeah, setups are done for this unit.
Oh, this is the unit Metro Express Limited. Okay. Can you just show me quickly what you showed? I mean, what you did?
Yeah.
I mean, you just show me what you did. That's good
Okay.
enough for me just to see what's there.
Yeah. So this is a
Okay.
business unit that we have configured.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
tax accounts, cross. Okay.
Yeah. So the same configuration. So I have just given the respective account code combination, and
Hmm.
I did not give any payment types. So we saw that we will have
Hmm.
it only we have the credit card transaction and those things. So I
Okay.
did not give this.
Okay.
And here also I did not give,
Yeah, split amount and days and
yeah,
sales. Okay.
these are related to collection. So I did not give
Yeah.
anything.
So
So
when you say prorate all, right?
yeah,
So prorate all, what does it do? Uh,
it will
I know
distribute.
it,
Yeah,
it takes both lines and the taxes together, right?
yeah, all the lines. It will take tax, lines, freight, everything. It will distribute equally.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
days,
discount option I have selected as invoice amount
invoice somehow.
on the
Okay.
total.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
this is just the basic setup that we need to
yes,
move
correct.
forward. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Grouping rule default. Okay.
Yeah, so grouping rule used for importing the transaction.
Hmm.
So we don't have other application that we can test with integration, but as
Okay.
a standard one, I just gave it. Okay. And then this one I gave based on the receipt date
Chargeback
for the
credit.
chargeback.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I gave. So these are the mandatory
Okay.
things. Okay, let me create a new one.
The transaction set is the RDS.
Yeah, correct. RDS,
Okay.
reference data set.
So which means we have to create the that RDS first, and then we can come and create the transaction type.
Yeah, yes. So this RDS we will create when we are creating this business unit,
Okay.
because it will ask for as an mandatory information. So we had two options, right? So either we can create in a different page, or inside this BU creation itself, we have an option to create RDS. So we can
Okay.
create and we can attach. So based on that, I mean, the same thing we can attach it here as well.
Okay. So we have to create business unit now.
No, we created business unit. I'm not sure whether the access is given, so that's what I'm
Oh,
checking.
data access. Okay. Do you have any, documentation for this, Arun?
Yeah,
Like setups, which one comes first, which one comes next, kind of a thing?
yeah, I'll share it.
Because for me, this is such a confusion. When I'm doing it, okay, I think I'll understand. Next minute again, I forget where I did what.
Yeah, I'll
It's
share
like
this.
even GL like this only. When I look at it, it feels very simple and easy, and I'm like, okay, I got it. Then again, I go and scratch my head. What the heck did I just do? Oh my god. If you have these notes for every module, can you share them with me, please?
Yes,
Because even this ledger and all these, right, these are a little
yeah,
confusing for me. The reason being, right, when we do it in test and when you
yeah,
people show, right, it's only like you show simple ones, right?
yeah,
In the sense like one unit or one business unit or something like that, you show simple ones. But then when I start doing this, I get all these questions like what about the rest of the business units and things like that.
okay.
So I'm not sure if it is like 1:1 combination or 1:n combination. I have no idea, so I'm like blindly going there.
Yeah, I'll share this note.
Because things like that sometimes, will make more sense, right? Sometimes
Yeah,
when you look at that, because as trainers, of course, you can't show every single scenario,
mm,
but when I'm doing it, I get those questions.
yeah, yeah.
If it were that simple, like how you're showing, and everybody can do the job, then it'll be nice. Why is that saying that? Is that something that's already there? Can we delete that and do it again?
Yeah, I deleted and did it again. But thing is that it's not reflecting in this one. Sometimes it will take time, but I logged out and logged in also. So I'm just thinking why it's not reflecting.
Required. What is it? What does that mean?
Is this one only it's saying the reference accounts?
Uh, Do you have any other company you can work with? Maybe? I don't know. I'm just saying.
Uh, yeah, we have, but those are already configured, those business units. So we will have to create a new one.
Oh,
Mm, okay, let me create a new BU and let me try this.
oh, then you have to assign all those things, right?
Yeah.
What does that below legal entity mean, Arun?
So below legal entity means whether we are using this as an default option or whether we wanted to use different one. So it's basically for the defaultation.
Okay. As financial functions. Or maybe you have to uncheck that below legal entity, then it'll probably
It will just give confirmation.
isn't applicable. Below legal entity isn't applicable. Multiple legal entities. Okay. It's just a warning. This one is Metro Unit 2, right? No, you're giving it for the
No, that is
username.
business unit.
Oh, sorry.
That's business unit.
Oh, so you have to redo this also. Okay.
Yeah.
So in this, you selected rounding, right?
Yeah.
So there was one below which said rounding cross currency. Wasn't that the right one that goes to the cross currency rounding
Yeah, that
or
is the
any?
one. Yeah, that is the one actually. I'm just
So
uh,
anything will work if you
yeah.
give.
Yeah,
Okay.
so basically whatever the account that we are giving, it will pick. So
Okay.
here rounding and cross currency rounding, it is just the description
Okay.
because this determines based on the account type that we are giving, whether this is an asset account or liability or expense. So for
Okay.
both rounding and cross currency rounding, so the account type is same.
Okay.
So that's why I'm selecting this. Yeah, maybe some issue with that. I
Previous
think
one.
the earlier one there was some
Mm-hmm.
issue. I think. Okay. So far now, I gave only two accounts, that is
Mm-hmm.
receivable and revenue, because these are
Okay.
the two accounts that will be needed to test the basic invoice functionality. So
Okay.
probably when we see the revenue generation, so we have
Mm-hmm.
different forms of generating revenue. So by then we
Okay.
will see this unearned revenue part and unbilled receivables, like
So we
the
can come back and fill this.
yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just trying to create a manual transaction source.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is that I'll create a manual one and I'll show the imported one. So what are the options that we will have for the imported invoice options?
Okay.
Okay. So here we have selected the RDS, that is Metro Unit 2. and we just gave the naming convention, and in selection we have selected as manual.
Mm-hmm.
And here I have selected this as a transaction numbering as automatic. So if I
Okay.
say manual, we might have some issue in duplication and the other things. So
Okay.
that's the reason I'm selecting automatic transaction numbering.
Mm-hmm.
And then for receipt handling, that is when the item comes as an returns. So how do
Mm-hmm.
we want to handle it? So whether we want to have this as an on account or refund. So
Refund. Okay.
yeah, refund is that just refund through AP module, and
Mm-hmm.
on account is something it will be adjusted on the upcoming purchases.
Okay. So when you say last transaction number, right?
Yeah,
So so it starts from one, or
yeah,
how's that?
yeah. Start from one,
Okay.
and
So you can't give it a zero.
no zero. It will not have impact, right? So always it will start from one.
Start
I
with the
mean,
one. Okay.
yeah. Okay. So then copy the transaction number to the credit memo. So whether we
Okay.
want to have this for reconciliation purpose, we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to have this in the credit memo sequencing number also, so that we
Okay.
can enable this option.
Okay.
And standard transaction type that we are choosing, which we created in the earlier step, Metro Unit 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that when we select this transaction source, system will automatically populate the transaction type also.
Okay.
Okay. And then if we have created the credit transaction source, probably we can attach it here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's it on the manual option. So I'll just create another one with imported option.
Okay. So when you have a credit transaction source also defined earlier, right?
Yeah.
So you said you can attach it. So which means that for that specific invoice, you can also have the credit transaction source.
Yes.
Okay. If you don't give that option, what happens? Now, let's say you have an invoice and
Okay.
then you have a credit for that.
Okay.
So how do you do that? I mean, if
So
you
I
haven't
will,
defined it.
yeah, so I will have to select it manually. System will not populate automatically.
Oh, okay, okay. So this is basically for automated
Yeah.
when it shows up. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are like the standard options that will be
Mm-hmm.
giving for all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So similarly, the transaction type. So after this, there are a few options that we will get from our third-party application or the core application.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here, if you see, so we have auto invoice option. So when there is an invalid line, so how do we want to handle this? So whether we want to reject it or we will remove this particular one line which is causing this exception, and we will
Mm-hmm.
create the invoice. So we
Okay.
can plan it accordingly. But if we reject this one line and create a new invoice, so
Mm-hmm.
this one rejected line, if at all the core application is reprocessing it, so this will
Mm-hmm.
create as a separate invoice, but it will not come as part of this original invoice. So that
Okay.
we should make sure. So always
But
it,
then it becomes confusing, right? If it is not part of this one and it
yeah,
turns up separately.
yeah. So that's why most of the cases we will set this as a reject invoice, so that this will come in this batch itself.
Oh, so reject invoice creates within the same invoice.
Yeah, because what will happen is that when I say reject invoice, so
Mm-hmm.
out of this 100 line, it has two line which has exception. So this
Mm-hmm.
will reject the entire invoice batch itself. So I
Oh,
will have to reprocess it and then I will import as a single invoice. But whereas
okay.
if I say create invoice, it will leave this particular two lines and it will
Mm-hmm.
create for the 98 lines.
Oh, okay.
So this will become another invoice. But
Okay.
there are few business requirement also that they don't want to wait for these two lines and they will create it as a separate invoice. So for
Okay.
those cases, we can use this create invoice option.
Okay. So there is also a blank, right? So you can leave it blank also.
It will not handle exception part then.
Okay. This is for exception handling, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then accounting date in closed period. So let's say I'm importing this transaction for the month of June, but the latest open period is I'll say May month.
Mm-hmm.
So the period is not open. So how system should react if this transaction is getting imported for the month of June? So whether it
Okay.
should reject this transaction stating that period is not open, or it
Or
should
adjust.
adjust with the latest one, which means the
Mm-hmm.
latest open period is May month. So what it will do
Okay.
was that it will post this transaction into May month.
Okay.
But this again depends on the requirement. But most of
Mm-hmm.
the cases it is reject.
Okay.
Else we'll not be able to identify that what is the issue. It will come
Mm-hmm.
up when we are doing the reconciliation. Because
Mm-hmm.
this transaction should have come in the month of June, but
Mm-hmm.
whereas it went into May month. So this will create reconciliation issues. So these
Okay.
factors also should be considered before setting up the auto invoice options.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we have a grouping rule. So grouping rule is nothing. So we have two things. So one is grouping rule, another one
Mm-hmm.
is line ordering rule. So the difference is that, so when I say grouping rule, so this is going
Mm-hmm.
to group based on certain parameter. So after
Okay.
this, we will be seeing what are the parameters that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So we have sales order number, we have additional attribute, and we have accounting date. So similarly, we have big list of parameters
Mm-hmm.
which we can use to import the transaction. So let's say
Okay.
in this case, I'm giving a sales order number. So what
Mm-hmm.
system will do is that let's say I created four different sales order. So
Mm-hmm.
this will create as a separate invoice. So I will have
Mm-hmm.
four invoices. But
Okay.
when I say accounting date, so system
Mm-hmm.
is not going to create four different transaction because
Mm-hmm.
my accounting date in sales order is same. So it will create one invoice.
Okay.
And also we have based on the customer. And if the customer count is let's say only one or two or anything. So based on that we have multiple parameters. Accordingly, we can set up this rule and
Mm-hmm.
it will create this, I mean, it will convert the sales order into invoice.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and then sales credit is related to this one collection and these things. So I'm just
Mm-hmm.
leaving as it is. And then we have import information like the always it is suggested to give it in ID.
ID. Okay.
Yeah, because values might be what do you call the duplicated. Let's say type I can create multiple also. So there are
Mm-hmm.
certain things. So, for example, if you take bill to customer, I can give the same number to the
Two
different
numbers.
customer.
Mm-hmm.
So this might end up in exception. So
Okay.
it's good if we give the ID because ID is
Okay.
always unique.
So when you say the sales credit part, right, that is
Yeah.
if it is integrated with the order management.
Yeah.
If it is not, let's assume we have only AR.
Okay.
So in that case, does it matter if we check anything, don't check anything?
No, in
I
that
mean, in
case,
the sense like if we select any radio button or don't select.
no. If we have only AR module, if at all, I mean, there are two
Mm-hmm.
things. So one is that Fusion Order Management, or
Mm-hmm.
whether we have external application which sends data to
Sales order. Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, it has to get a sales order no matter what. Okay.
yeah. If we are
Yeah,
not getting sales order itself, then we will not set up this automatic route. So we will
yeah,
just set up the manual.
yeah. Dummy. I didn't realize that. I was like thinking about the module itself. Okay.
Yeah. So similarly, I'll select for other options as well, IDs.
So bill to address also we should give as ID, right?
Yeah,
Or
yes, yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Miscellaneous transaction.
Okay. So that's it on the import options. So with this, we will be able to import the transactions.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's about the transaction source, and the next part is auto accounting. So why do we use auto accounting? Is that for two things? So if I have only the manual transaction that will happen in my company.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, if I use auto accounting, it is going to automate my distributions in receivables. But apart from that, in case of manual thing, we don't have any such thing that it will fall under exception or anything. So
Okay.
again, anyway, I'll be able to enter it manually also. So this
Okay.
is mandatory when we use this auto invoice or import program.
Okay.
So that is when this becomes mandatory. So why this becomes mandatory is that I will have to give the account code combination.
Mm-hmm.
So unless I give the account code combination, system will not understand from where I should pick this accounts. So it will
Okay.
go into exception.
Okay.
So there are multiple parameters or the options that I can use to create this one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see here, so account types are different. So when we are setting up this one transaction type,
Mm-hmm.
so Visa few accounts, that is Visa receivable account, Visa revenue, tax,
Yeah.
unearned revenue and bill. So similarly, we have it for all. So we will have to set it up each
For
separately.
each of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will have the segment parameters, and with this we have multiple options. So whether I wanted to use this from the transaction type. So it's not mandatory that we will have to give the account code in transaction type. So also we can give the constant value. So if I, let's say I don't want to get the values from any of the setup. So what I can
Mm-hmm.
do is that I can simply give any value here.
Yeah.
And let's say I wanted to get from the transaction type, so I can select this. So this will become frozen.
Uh, what was the other option? You have transaction type salesperson. Okay, we don't
Yeah,
need salesperson in this case at least.
yeah.
Right.
Actually, what will happen is that transaction type is one option where we can give the account code combination, and salesperson, when we are defining it, we can give this account code combination, that is for receivable and revenue. We can give these
Mm-hmm.
accounts inside the salesperson.
Okay.
So this is one option, and site means customer site. So again, under the customer site, we can give the account code combination. So system will not pick only based on the transaction type. Instead, it will pick based on the customer. So let's say my customer A will have different set of combination. In the
Mm-hmm.
sense, account will be same, but the
Mm-hmm.
combination might be different. Instead of
Okay.
selecting company 01, they might
Mm-hmm.
select company 2. So it depends based on that. We can select customer site.
Okay.
So since we gave it in the transaction type, so I'm just giving the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So you can pick, let's say for company you gave transaction type, the rest of them can have different sources, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay. For now, you're just doing the revenue and the receivable part.
Yeah. So here,
But in general, when you actually do the setup, you have to do it for everything, all like account types.
yeah, all account types we will have to give it.
Okay.
So now if you see, so For receivable, if you see, there are only three options. But here, if you see, we have four options. So the addition
Mm.
is that standard lines. So,
Okay.
so there are another option that will get added for this one. So because
Mm-hmm.
what will happen is that standard line is nothing but, I mean, memo line is what we are calling it as a standard line. So if at all
Okay.
there is a requirement that I will not have the items in place, but this
Mm-hmm.
might be a financial charge or something like that. So for those
Mm-hmm.
cases, I can create this memo line because
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to create an what do you call separate inventory unit and separate
Yeah,
sub
yeah.
inventory for my service item. So instead, I can use just the standard memo line and I can
Mm-hmm.
create the item. So if I
Okay.
want to derive the standard memo line, so I can
Mm-hmm.
just select standard memo line as an value source.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you select a standard memo line, do you have to give anything to the side, the other column?
No, it will pick from the setup. So basically,
Setup. Okay.
this column we are using only to give the constant value. So
Okay.
if you are giving the constant value, which means instead of giving the entire list, I'll give one particular value. So that is the thing of this particular constant
Okay.
value.
Okay.
So basically, it will not be dynamic. It will be what do you call the set of kind of hard-coded value.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I do, it will reflect with the same account code.
Okay.
Yeah. So this we are done. So I'll just show one more thing for this one.
Tax. Okay.
Yeah, so here if you see we have
Five.
another one added because if I want to add tags as a standard memo line I can do it, and also
Mm-hmm.
if I want to derive this account code combination from this one what do you call based on the setups that I have done in the Fusion taxation module, so that also I can
Okay.
derive from there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are done with this.
Either enter a table name or a constant segment value.
Okay, this one.
Or tax for that. No. That's weird.
It will have this one catchy thing.
Well, normal
So
if it works straight only, I don't understand. If it throws like that, I'll be thinking, what the heck did I do?
actually, what will happen is that when we enter any setup and we leave without saving it, it will give error that the data is inconsistent and data get saved. So when
Okay.
we delete that particular incomplete record and then again we do it, so the same
Oh,
message will appear because of the catches that has been handled in the ADF.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so we are done with the transaction type, transaction
Hmm.
source, and the auto accounting.
Okay,
Okay. So now we will, I'll show this one, the line ordering rule and grouping rule.
okay. Manage auto invoice line ordering rules. Okay.
Yeah. So here if you see, so we can select based on any parameter. So for example, here if you see, they have selected based on four conditions. So this will create as an and condition. So which means it will pick for sales order number,
That's
and ship
line.
date and ship via like whether for freight
Okay.
or
Yeah.
any other mode. And apart from that, if you see, we have other options also. So there are a lot of options that we can use. So the
Okay.
customer and the quantity and the purchase order. So if it is an back-to-back order, so we
Hmm.
will have this purchase order also in place. So for those cases, we can use purchase order.
Okay. So what is the basic ones that we normally need? So these are the three that will be always there, or
Yeah, so these three are standard ones, these four.
mm-hmm.
So based on this, we can derive we can convert the sales order into invoice. So,
Okay.
but there will be a requirement wherein business might ask us to set up different rules. So based on that, we will set the rules. So for
Okay.
example, let's say business is into let's say advance and the other payment. So what they will do is
Mm-hmm.
that they will deliver the item, but they will not bill it now. So for
Yes.
those cases, what they will do is that they will set up this accounting rule and the other things, and the
Mm-hmm.
sales order will be converted into invoice based on those rules which they have defined it. So
Okay.
accordingly, we have different options that we can set it up.
Okay. So why do we normally use this auto invoice line ordering rules? What's the reason for using this?
Yeah. So let's say I have 10 different lines.
Okay.
So this 10 different lines, whether I wanted to have as an 10 different lines or I wanted to have this as 4 or 5 different lines. So that is what we are
Okay.
trying to do here.
So basically,
Which
it's
means,
consolidation.
yes, correct. It is like
Okay.
aggregating all the lines and making it one line or 10 line or 5 line. So that's
Okay.
what we are trying to do.
Okay. So based on how do you want to consolidate certain things? Okay.
Yes,
Got it.
correct. Yeah, so that's about the line ordering rule. So once this line ordering rule is done, so we will attach this line ordering tool with our grouping rule.
Okay.
So here, if you see, I can just select the line ordering rule that I created in the earlier step, or I
Mm-hmm.
can ignore this and I can create the transaction classes here directly.
Okay.
So I can say the transaction class is invoice, and
Mm-hmm.
I can give the group options. So how do I want to group it? But if I have given this as an line ordering rule, and I will just give invoice, and this becomes my optional configuration. Whether I want to
Okay.
give or I want to avoid, I can do that. But
Okay.
if I did not give the line ordering rule, basically I will have to give it. Else system will not understand how I need to group this particular
Mm-hmm.
sales order into invoice.
Okay.
So same parameters we have here as well.
Okay.
So that's what whether we want to use there, we want to configure there and then we will just utilize that, or we will
Mm-hmm.
configure here in the grouping rule. So that's what
Okay.
determines.
A question there.
Yeah,
So in the grouping characteristics, when you clicked on
yeah,
the drop down, you have so many attributes, right? These
yeah,
all attributes are used for something, let's say from a third party, if you're getting, that's when you use these.
yeah, yes. Attributes
Okay.
are nothing but the additional,
Additionally, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's about the auto invoice. Yeah. So the next thing is that activities. So yeah. So we have receivable activities that has to be configured.
Okay.
Okay, so here we have list of items that we can configure
Mm-hmm.
with the help of receivable activity. So, for example, if I have late charges, I can use it, or if I have refunds, I can use it. So, similarly, we have a lot of things that we can use it, even the
Mm-hmm.
write-offs.
Mm-hmm.
But here, two things are mandatory setup in order to complete the AR configuration. So, one is
Okay.
that earn discount, and another one is unearned discount.
Mm-hmm.
So I will just select earn discount one, and probably the next one I'll create it for unearned as well. And
Okay.
here, if you see, we will just give this naming convention, and we will select the account code. So that's all the configuration that we will do.
Okay. But you have to create for everything, every activity type,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, correct.
Why is that showing as inactive?
Yeah, it should show.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, didn't get. That's weird.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. But why was it doing that weird thing of not saving? My God.
Sometimes it will happen. Actually.
Does this happen even in your work environment, or is it only in test?
No, it's only in test because this is being used by so
Yeah,
many
yeah, a lot
people.
of people, right? Yeah.
So maybe that's okay. So we are done with invoicing part of configurations.
Mm-hmm.
So probably we will start tomorrow on the receipt part.
Okay. So this same time?
Yeah, same time.
Okay. Saturday night for us. What do you call? My Saturday is what your
Sunday.
Saturday evenings.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, Sunday. Oh, I get confused. Yours is what? Yeah, Saturday evening. My Saturday. Your Saturday evening, I'll be traveling. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I'm trying to say how when I'll be traveling. Yeah, I'll be back on the same day, but it's a 10-hour drive, so I'll probably be tired on that day.
Okay.
So Sunday again we can have, which is probably Monday morning for you.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
I'm actually out the next week, starting our Monday morning, which is your Tuesday. Monday morning means Monday evening for you.
Yeah, Monday evening. Okay.
From Monday evening, the whole week I'll be out. We are going on a road trip.
Okay.
So just letting you know in
Yeah, yeah,
advance.
sure. Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, and a quick thing, Arun, how would you recommend I practice this? I know this is a lot, not just this. I mean, not talking about all modules.
Okay.
Let's say even if I start with one module, right? What is the best way to, practice, or how do you think I should approach this? In
Uh,
terms of finding the job, right? What is the best way to approach in dealing with this, doing this over multiple times, or understand how do I do it?
so basically, I would suggest to prepare with the what do you call the dumps. So with dumps, if you practice it, basically you will know the loops and corners. So it will help in the interview and all those factors. Because
Okay.
in dump, basically we will have all those things that we will not even expect it in the system. So they will cover
Okay.
everything mostly. So if you
Okay.
practice with that, so probably, so if you couldn't find answer for anything, so you can practice and you can check that. So this will clear all those things and that will help a lot in interview actually.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's the only way, right?
Yeah, that's a better option.
Okay.
Or else it will take a lot of time to practice
Yeah,
also.
because when you're practicing, I'm trying to make my screenshots and put it and then go back. It's okay just doing it, but then again I forget everything. Then again, I'm going back to square one. I'm like, what the heck? I just did everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. And if you can share the notes
I'll,
with me, or
yeah.
some screenshots or whatever the steps, God alone knows what are there in that.
Yeah.
If you can share that, at least I can start seeing which comes first, which comes next.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
I'll share that.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
See you
tomorrow
tomorrow.
we will have, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thank